Episode 11 of The Bad Batch was, in my opinion, the best episode of the show we've gotten so far. If you haven't seen the episode, I recommend clicking off right now and watching it, because this episode is going to get very spoiler heavy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Legend of Korra. This episode gave me a lot of Korra vibes. Specifically the flashback arc where they go back and find out how bending was created. This episode is somewhat similar because it covers the trials of Ryloth in the period after the end of the Republic. Ryloth is in chaos because they do not wish to give up arms. Cham's freedom fighters are restless, and they know if they give up their ability to fight, then the Empire will simply become their next oppressor. Orn Free Ta, the senator of Ryloth, attempts to talk Cham into getting all of his forces to stand down. Ta is successful, and Cham tells his people that the war is over and that the clones are there to protect them. However, the sting of Twi'lek's slavery under the Separatists is still there, and the men of Ryloth will not give up their freedom so easily. We see Hera and Chopper in trouble with the Imperial authorities in this episode, which is awesome. It reminds me of the scene from the end of the 3rd season of Attack on Titan. No spoilers, you know which one I'm talking about if you've seen it. It's awesome that we get to see Chopper, the protagonist of Rebels, and his sidekick Hera in this episode. We also get to see a bit of their history with the clones in the Empire, which is doing a really good job of setting up Rebels. Into the speculation realm, since we've already met Kanan, Hera, and Chopper, does this mean we're going to see the rest of the Ghost crew? It would be awesome if we went to Mandalore and met Sabine, or met Zeb while the ISB is attempting to destroy the Lasan. The main conflict of this episode comes when Hera and Chopper involve themselves in an arms shipment from the Bad Batch to Ryloth. The good part of this is that they get to meet the Bad Batch, and Hera and Omega get to bond over their mutual love of ships. This attachment is really cool, especially since both parties have been extremely suspicious of each other. I really hope that we get to see more of their connection in the future, because it seems like it's really genuine and promising. On the way back from picking up the shipment, Hera's ship is shot down by Crosshair, and she and her friends are taken prisoner. Cham and his soldiers eventually realize what is going on, and that Hera is going to be tried and executed for treason, and conspire to rescue her from the Imperial transport. However, the soldiers on that transport were led by Captain Ballast and Admiral Rampart. Rampart appears to be a cunning tactician and manipulator, given his tactics in this episode. I think he will be a powerful adversary for the Bad Batch in the future. Captain Hauser is equally as interesting, but I have a bit more to say on him, so I'll get back to it later. Once Hera is rescued, the Imperials reveal their true plan. Crosshair executes Orn Free Ta, and they take away Cham and his fighters and implicate them in his murder. Now this scene is left extremely ambiguous. I've seen a lot of speculation that he's dead. I do not believe this to be the case because Cham is specifically charged with his attempted murder, and Ta appears in the Lords of the Sith novel later. However, Filoni is the king of retcons, and I wouldn't even be mad if this was the case. So the conclusion of this episode leaves us with so many questions. I assume the Bad Batch will be dispatched to Ryloth to save Hera, but what about Crosshair? He appears to be damaged from the side of the inhibitor chip, which may reveal that it is actually broken. This could make their mission easier, or serve to complicate it somehow. Getting back to Hauser, he displays significantly more humanity than a lot of the other clones. When Cham has his blaster trained on Ta's chest, he begs Cham to use some restraint. This has led to a lot of speculation that he has a broken/damaged inhibitor chip. I think Hauser was on Ryloth prior to the end of the war, so he and Cham likely have some rapport. Either way, he seems to be an extremely interesting character. I hope he ends up helping out and joining the Bad Batch, just because I like the look of his armor and enjoy the actions of his character. Overall, I give this episode a 9 out of 10. Even though it didn't really include the Bad Batch, the story it told and the beauty of the environments in which the story was told were both surprising and amazing. This was probably the most amazing episode of the Bad Batch so far. If you're interested in the lore of Ryloth, I'll put a link in the description to a video I made about what happens there after the end of this arc. Cham's fight isn't over yet, and it continues in the Lords of the Sith novel and the Rebels series. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more Star Wars content.